reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 268. I'm Chris, and I am joined once again by the ever so enlightening Mr. at MMO Bill. Hello, Bill.
Good evening.
And we've got the incomparable, the undescribable, the unable to show up for 2 weeks, Mr. Harry Hall. Hello, Harry.
Yeah. Well, if I'm not here, you can't compare. That doesn't rhyme. In my head, it rhymed.
It doesn't rhyme in Dutch.
I think you described him pretty well, actually.
Yeah. Hey, so hi guys, welcome back. We've got the trio back together here again to talk some MMO news, and it's funny. There's one big announcement this week that we're going to talk about, and then there's a whole bunch of dense, smaller announcements. In my opinion, that are going to be really information-packed that we're going to get through. So I'm pretty excited about this show. But of course, my favorite part of the week is when we discuss what we have been playing in games, because you know what? That is what we do. We play games and we share that with everyone. So let's get right into things. Bill, what have you been doing?
Well, I've been playing World of Warcraft. I decided that I'm going to take my rogue, and I'm running it up to level 60. And at level 60, I am going to boost it up to level 100.
Why not just boost it to level 100?
I think it makes sense, yeah.
That's an excellent question, Chris. I'm glad you asked. The reason to run it up at 60 is because if you have a level 60 or higher character that you apply your level 100 boost to, it also boosts all your trade skills up to level 700 as well. So any of your so I've put a couple of gathering trade skills on my dude, and I'm just going to use that as a kind of ancillary money farming method.
You're so
that
smart.
Will help me pay for my
smart.
Yeah, thank you. Plus, leveling is so dirt. Yeah, I know. I sneak up on people a little bit like that, but no. And I've actually found the leveling to be. I mean, the leveling has always been dirt easy, but it's even easier now. Now that the Legion invasions are happening, you can get some really amazing experience from that fast.
Really?
Every invasion that I've done is probably good for a level and a half so far, and it takes about 15 minutes to do it, depending on how many people are participating, like how late at night it is and everything like that. And they nerfed it actually a couple days ago. It was a little too good. But still, if you're getting out there and you're actually the amount of experience that you get for killing mobs is about triple what you would normally get just in regular zones.
Wow.
There's 3 phases that you get probably about 1.5 to 2 times the experience for a regular quest hand-in for all 3 phases.
Yeah.
So it just, you chew through the experience super fast.
Wow.
So if you're looking to get something up to 60 or just run something up quickly, the invasions are good too. Plus, even at lower levels, like I've been doing mine at between level 40 to 50, you're still getting blues at the end of every event, like level appropriate blues. So you're gearing yourself as well.
Now, does it scale? So, you know, are they all level 100 mobs that you're fighting and you just need a whole bunch of people? Are they appropriate for the level of the zone? I haven't actually done an invasion yet. I've been meaning to, but I've had a few other things pulling me in different directions.
It's really interesting. I think what they're doing is they're almost doing per person scaling, because every mob that I've seen in an invasion has been on level with me, even though the other people that have been in the invasion are level 100 or level question mark or whatever.
Now, didn't we talk about them doing that a while back? I don't remember something about that. Or was it? No, it was ESO. ESO was going to do something like that.
Maybe, yeah, but WoW, it seems like WoW is doing that now, because when I hit, I do my regular damage. It knocks the bar down by an appropriate percentage, but the level 100 that's fighting beside me is doing the same thing. Like, it's not a one-shot kill or anything like that. So I think, and to me, that's a really clever way of doing that. I didn't know that was a feature, but it's making the invasions doable by anyone. I mean, I lose the mobility. I'm not able to fly my guy around to the different points on the map or anything like that. But those are the general penalties you get for being low level anyway. But in terms of experience and damage and everything, you can participate as well as anyone else.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that. I'm going to have to get into the dungeon stuff. I did other stuff in WoW. I'll talk about that when it's my turn.
Well, not dungeons, but invasions. I haven't even done a dungeon yet.
I meant invasions.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
So anyway, WoW has been good. I've actually been spending a lot of time with that. I still see myself, I could see myself getting into it, getting to level 100, and playing enough to actually make enough gold for a token every month.
Wow.
And I think that's going to be kind of my measure. I've bought some time on a time card, and I'm going to play until I can't fund myself for tokens anymore, and then I'm going to stop playing. That's my line.
That's a really good way to look at it, and a really good way to measure your gameplay.
Yep.
I like that.
Anyway, so that was that. I'm still heavily into Overwatch. I finished the competitive season 1 at rank 51, which I was pretty pleased with. And yeah, you could have tried harder, Chris. In fact, you could have tried, period. But
Yeah.
So, but and Chris and
something
I actually
happened
did.
Though, and I'll talk about that in my bit. But something happened that unfortunately made me not be able to do much.
Ah, fair enough. Jeez. So. Anyway, I'm still having lots of fun with that. And I also did some Guild Wars 2 time with my wife. We actually completed the Heart of Thorn storyline. We did the Mordramoth story fight at the end. Sorry, spoiler alert. Guess what? You fight Mordramoth at the end of the Heart of Thorn story.
Oh, I'm shocked.
I know.
That's it. You're off the show, Bill.
Anyway, not to spoil, I won't spoil the story or anything, because the story is actually very good. I thought they actually made some interesting character advances and story stuff and everything like that. But anyway, I won't talk about that. But the mechanics of the fight, the interesting thing that they did in the story quest is that if you are in a group when you do the story quest and you die, they don't let you rejoin the fight. Like in previous story quests, they've allowed you to kind of double back into the fight, or as soon as the combat is finished or it's separated or anything, you can kind of jump in and catch up and everything like that. No, in this story quest, or in this thread of story quests, you get put into a penalty box. Is the best way I can describe it. You're removed from a fight. You're on a little platform that you can watch and see what's happening, but you can't do anything to affect the fight. The fight doesn't scale down. It's not any less difficult, but the poor person down at the bottom is just hooped.
Sucker.
So if you have, and the scaling thing is a really important thing, because if you've got a break bar that you need to break, that's scaled for 2 people and you've only got 1 person, you have to be pretty amazing on your crowd control to be able to nail that break bar. So I was to say that I was a little frustrated with that would probably be disingenuous. To say that I flung my mouse across the room and screamed obscenities at the top of my lungs would probably be a little bit closer to accurate.
Oh no, that does not
because I just about lost my mind, because I'm sitting there. My poor wife is struggling on her thief to do this fight, and I'm sitting here like a dummy on my Revenant with all my crowd control skills just queued up, ready to go, because I got stuck and killed by something that I didn't even see, or I didn't even know what happened.
Bill, there's a solution to that,
What, play WoW?
Don't die.
Oh, well.
Learn to play, noob.
Oh, man. Well, fine. Harry, tell me how to play. I apparently don't know how.
Well, I wish I could help you there, Bill, but Some people are beyond help. I'm playing. I've played No Man's Sky, and I don't know what to make of it yet. I like it for some reasons, and for example, this is what the original Elite. If it had a love baby with Mercenary, also an old school adventure exploration game in an open world, and it has all these old school trimmings of a procedurally generated universe where you scan stuff and find stuff and have factions and all of the. It's good. But it's so repetitive. After 2 hours of playing, I just couldn't tell the difference between one planet and the other anymore. I don't feel like I'm on an epic mission of exploration, but I'm just grinding for credits, and I'm not sure. And I keep playing. I'm not hating it, but it's definitely a very. It doesn't feel like a very deep game to me. It's almost yeah.
I was going to say, because I've heard a similar thing through the forums, and the follow-up question always seems to be, how is the grind in No Man's Sky different than the grind in Elite Dangerous? In that you're hitting procedurally generated new things where you continually try to grind for more credits.
I can pipe up on this one. Somebody described it perfectly for me. Is that Elite Dangerous is like playing the same. It's basically the same idea of the game. There's different trinkets around it, but the same idea: space flight, planets, mining, resources, trading, fighting, all that sort of stuff. But Elite Dangerous is flying the $3-4 million simulator with all the bells and whistle, and No Man's Sky is playing with Tonka trucks. And I like playing with Tonka trucks. Tonka trucks are fun. And sometimes the simulator is a little overwhelming. And that's kind of the difference in depth, I think, of the gameplay part of it right now. That's my thought.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty accurate. It's again, I'm not saying I hate No Man's Sky. I mean, I can see it's doing a lot of the thing that I really like. And I think Elite could learn a little bit from that is the way they handle factions and the way that you meet aliens, and all these alien races have their own languages, and you have to get your reputation up to get new stuff. I think they do that pretty good. I mean, that's compelling to me. The fact that you need to learn an alien language and then meet new aliens, I like that very much. And it's also an old school mechanic, actually. It's very much like a text adventure where you're doing, because it's all text-based, but it's very. And the question, I want to answer it myself, because what Bill said. What's the difference? The thing is, I'm playing Elite Dangerous. I'm playing it with virtual reality. By the way, this is something about No Man's Sky I was surprised about it. I actually enjoyed it. Just playing it on a PlayStation 4 without VR. I thought I will not be able. It's fine. It's not that big. It's not a big deal to play it just on a normal screen. So that's not the thing. But it adds VR, obviously. I'm currently on an exploration mission, and I'm basically doing less than I'm doing in No Man's Sky, because I'm flying into a new system. I'm checking out the planets. I'm scanning them down from a distance, and I'm moving on to the next. And still, it feels like there is more or something. It's like the universe has more depth, because if I want to stop doing this, I can just go back and kill stuff and do or trading. Or it feels like there is more going on in the background in Elite Dangerous than there is in No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is very much, this is the thing you do. You hop to it. It's No Man's Sky is Out There. This is well, you probably don't know Out There, the game.
No.
An iOS game?
No.
Okay, you know Faster Than Light.
Yes.
This is Faster Than Light meets Elite Dangerous, and it's a very different game. It's very much geared towards progressing towards a different. Elite Dangerous has you explore a galaxy and move any which way you want, and No Man's Sky kind of pushes you through a path. Be it the There's different story paths that you can follow.
Yeah.
It's good, it's fine, but that's just a different take on it.
Let's hold off. We can talk about it some more once we're ready to sort of give our recommendations.
Yeah, let's not dwell on it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Quickly, I'm playing Project Cars in VR. The main reason I'm playing it, aside from enjoying Project Cars and racing games in general, I dusted off my old 360 steering wheel that I found for the Xbox.
Oh.
And it turns out it actually works on the PC. The only downside is the actual force feedback in the steering wheel isn't supported. On the Xbox, you actually had the wheel pushing back, but the force feedback, as in the vibrations, if you hit a curb or you're hitting stuff, that is spot on, and it feels like you're actually driving a car. And the sensation of sitting in a chair with a steering wheel in virtual reality in a $400,000 sports car is pretty fucking incredible. I mean, this is what VR is perfect for, because you are actually, the great thing about racing a car in VR, if you're driving a car, you're looking through the corners to where you want to go. If you're playing on a flat screen, you can't do that. And the sensation of being in a full car and being able to look around. And I drove a sport car on a track, and I was forced to wear a helmet, because that's what you do when you're racing a car. And in VR, you have a slightly limited field of view because of the VR headset.
Right.
And it's one-to-one. You just feel like you're in a car wearing a helmet.
Oh, cool.
And it is very, very cool. And easier than you think, because driving is something we all do. Most of us have a driving license, can be able to do that. So driving with the steering wheel and the pedals, and it's fantastic. It's one of the best experiences in VR. I played Minecraft VR, and my nephew and nieces were coming over for a couple of days, just have fun. And obviously, he wanted to play Minecraft in virtual reality. And the little guy, he's 11-year-old. He just played like was nothing special at all.
Oh, really?
He was just, oh, that's cool. Okay, and he just started messing and creating explosions, and like there was nothing special. Kids don't see how lucky they are to be living in this time.
You're in VR. Come on. Yeah.
The cool thing about Minecraft VR, this is very clever. This is very. I'm incredibly impressed about what they've done. Usually, when you're playing a stick-controlled game in VR, where you're making slow turns left to the left and right, like you do in Minecraft, you get simsick. You get nauseous. And they changed it. Like if you turn to the left or the right, you go in increments, and it's like tick 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 tick. You're not moving in a smooth line. And while it's jarring the first 2 minutes, at a certain point you don't notice anymore, and you don't get sick. And it's a small innovation. It's fantastic. And the other thing that I really like, you start out playing, when you start playing Minecraft, and this was very cool to show to my nephew, because that was the moment that he was impressed. You start out in a Minecraft room, and you have a big television in front of you, and you're playing Minecraft on a flat screen in VR.
Yeah.
And that is to get your bearings. It's for people just to be able to know you're in VR and you're not getting immersed too much.
Yeah.
And then you press a button, and then all of a sudden you zoom in, and then you're in the world. And
That's
in 3D
cool.
and looking around. And I was so happy. I pressed that button for him, and my nephew went, whoa. You want to hear that sound when you're demoing VR.
That's so cool.
Final thing, because I don't want to hog the mic, Dota 2 has added a virtual reality spectator mode. And I'm not a big MOBA fan, and I don't know much about Dota 2, but this is damn cool. You can watch Dota 2 matches live or in replay, including the commentary. In virtual reality, that means you're hovering over the world. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can teleport to different locations, and you can see other people who are spectating as well. And you can actually get down to ground level, so the heroes are to scale, or you can look down on everything like you're a giant looking at a big toy box. And it's actually designed for the HTC Vive, but I can play it on the Rift just perfectly with my Hydro controllers because you need them to teleport into Zoom and everything.
Right.
But it is amazing to be able to see, and this is for the first time ever, I thought esports is cool. And not just because it makes it much more tangible. I mean, there's commentary going on. You can see the stuff going. It's you're actually there. It's like it's not like you're in a stadium because you're hovering over the field, but it's much more akin to being in a stadium because you are much more part of the world where everything is happening.
That's really cool.
I still had no clue what was going on though. But so that was my couple of weeks in gaming. How about you, Chris?
Cool. Okay, so we already talked about our thoughts on No Man's Sky, but I wanted to share a quick story. Basically, I've been playing mostly No Man's Sky. That's been the majority of my time because I'm really hooked on. It's just that carrot on a stick. It's just going a little bit further. I was going down the Atlas path. I changed my mind to the Galactic Center path, so I'm heading towards the Galactic Center. I'm super curious as to what happens when you hit the Galactic Center. So I really want to get there. So I've been playing quite a bit of it. I'd say I probably have about 15 to 20 hours in it, maybe a little more already. So a fair chunk. But I found this amazingly huge aluminum deposit. And the thing about it was, it said it was a iridium or whatever that alloy was, which I needed, but it turned out to be a huge aluminum one. And this is like one of the big 4-story tall, huge office tower sized one.
Yeah.
So I dug a bunch and I started to dig down because some of them go into the ground, and this one really, really went into the ground. And I'm just showing our live viewers. I highly recommend you want to see this, guy. So go to the stream if you haven't seen it yet. If you haven't. If you're watching the audio, if you're listening to the audio, I'll describe this. But if you can watch the video, I highly recommend it. So I'm digging down, I'm Minecrafting it basically, right? And I'm going down and down and down, and there's a little bit of bugginess because there's parts of it that say like it pops up with the little tooltip that says what it is, which means you can mine it. But I can't mine everything, so I'm using my grenade launcher to grenade mine because who doesn't? And my mining laser, and I'm digging down and I'm digging down and I'm digging down. And finally, at one point, I noticed that there's a bit of a glitch. And I'm down at the bottom of this. I'm probably comparably, I'm guessing, maybe 5 stories down, right? So I'm quite a bit down. It takes, I can't use my backpack to fly out. I have to push against the wall to get the unlimited backpack. And so I'm down pretty low. And I'm digging and I'm using my grenades and I'm digging and I'm starting to notice that there's a little bit of a part of the wall that I'm looking at that I've mined that I can see further than I should be able to. And I can see the bottom of the landscape and all the tunnels of the world. And I'm curious, so I peek over just a little bit and I accidentally fell into the middle of the world. In No Man's Sky. So, hey, by the way, everyone, if you're curious, there is underneath the ground a layer of air and then water in the middle of the ground, and then you can see the core. I'm stuck currently. I went down for I think I spent about 10 minutes because I had the technology where you can refresh it using minerals to go underwater longer. So I kept on refreshing it and 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 refreshing it. And I went down for about 5-10 minutes. Didn't get anywhere, but got pretty far away from the above area. Like I kept on looking up to see a comparison because you could see all the tunnels that are under the ground. And I got pretty far, but I'm currently stuck because the space area between the layer of water and the bottom of the ground is further than my jetpack can go.
Oh no.
And there's no respawn or anything, so I'm going to have to die. And the problem is it's going to spawn my corpse down there, so I'm not going to be able to get any of the stuff that I have on my corpse. So
can't you fly a ship into the core of the planet?
No, I don't have that big of a hole, unfortunately. And the autopilot wouldn't let me anyway, right? It kind of floats you above the
That's
above the
true,
sky.
yeah. That's the weird thing that I was struggling with, that I couldn't just skim the surface the way I wanted to.
Yeah. Anyways, it kind of reminds me of like an on-rail shooter where you can aim anywhere you want to go. You're just flying in a direction. Anyways, so that was my No Man's Sky experience last night, and this morning I tried to get out again, and I'm currently stuck, so I'm gonna have to die. But No Man's Sky has been taking up most of my time.
Pretty cool that you were able to discover this, but it sounds a bit like a glitch, actually.
Oh, it's totally a glitch. Like, I wasn't supposed to go through the edge. It looks like the textures are missing. I can't see any of the... all I can see is the tunnels. I can't see all the ground. I can only see the tunnels that are underground.
I could see that.
So I can see through the ground to the planets in the sky and stuff. Except everything has a red tinge. Maybe it's not water. Maybe it's lava. Magma.
Well, if it was magma, you would be boiled.
Yeah. It's funny because it's a hot planet, so every time I would fly out of the water area, which I can't see, by the way, I can only tell it's water because my oxygen goes down. Every time I would fly out of it, the heat would go up to like 175 degrees. And then I'd go in the water. Yeah, so...
There's a couple of things. Before, if you're going into a cave and there's a storm outside, you're still not protected from the storm. And I don't really understand why they didn't do that, because why it should be able. There's so many little glitches in the game, but it's. I'm not going to be sour about it.
Yeah,
it's not only dangerous.
So, anyways, I'm gonna post a little video about that because I find that incredibly hilarious in all sorts of different ways. It's just funny. As for WoW, Bill was talking about playing WoW. I have gone through now with my Demon Hunter. I've gone through the intro. And I'm now out in the real world, so I'll go back to my Paladin now. I'm not loving Demon Hunter. I know Bill said you really enjoyed it. I know you've got your WoW subscription right now. I don't know if you've tried Demon Hunter yet, Harry, but...
I've played it in the beta.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not really loving it. I'm not super excited about it, but I'll try it a little bit more.
I'm not totally up on everything, but I thought Legion was expected to be released on August 30th.
It is, so but the Demon Hunter came out on the 9th.
It's the preview patch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it was post-preview patch, but pre-release of expansion.
Yeah, but I think that's clever.
10th, not the 9th, 10th, yeah.
People can actually get through that area.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the flood of Illidan likes over with. Probably did actually call your character Illidan Azar.
No, Demazar.
That's worse. That's even worse. Having your class name in your character name. That's
every character I've got has that. Almaden.
I actually think
and Lotro.
I actually think you would probably enjoy the Demon Hunter, Harry. It takes WoW combat and actually adds a little bit of action and movement to it, because a lot of the abilities actually encourage jumping around, and they give you a little bit of like Guild Wars 2 like gliding as well. And Anyway, it was actually fun, pretty fun to play.
I didn't.
The gliding mechanic is actually pretty good, and the double jump is also fun. And the fact that you can actually explore bits that other characters can't, I like that.
Yep. I've been playing some Lotro as well. Carrie and I played the other night. She's going through and catching up her character on all of the story instances for our Skirmish of Skirmishes, and I am almost level 104. So I'm almost done that, and so that was fun. And then Overwatch. Bill and I played some Overwatch. I did not make the level 25 needed to get into the Season 1 in time. Sorry, Bill. I'm not enough of a tryhard.
No. Hey, it's not tryhard. Come on. Besides, you know what? Calling someone a tryhard and intending it as an insult is just about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Trying hard is a quality. It's not a...
Depends on what you're trying, though.
Yeah.
And how hard you are.
Yeah. It's always good. It's never bad.
Oh, that reminds me of a Japanese pole vaultist. Anyways, some of you may get that joke. Others, you need to Google Japanese pole vault Olympics Rio.
I'm afraid to. Yeah. I'm afraid to Google that particular phrase.
Anyways, I do want to thank our patrons at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. You are fantastic. I really appreciate everyone who helps keep the virtual lights on here at MMO Reporter. We literally could not do this without you. You pay for our hosting, you pay for our bandwidth, you pay for all the things we need to make sure that we put out quality podcasts all across the network. And I'm happy to say that now, with the launch of Guild Wars Reporter, with the 200th episode of Guild Wars Reporter now being live, we now have 3 podcasts on the network that are over 200 episodes. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of everybody who's worked on all those episodes, and looking forward to hundreds more. It's fantastic. I did the math. I think I've done like 800-something podcasts now. It's kind of cool. Okay, so let's move things along now to the news.
I'm actually staring at the Japanese pole vaulter right now. Okay, let's move on to the news.
Do you want to build a snow char? Come on, let's go and play. I never see you LFG come out the door. It's like you've gone AFK. We used to be dungeon buddies, and now we're not. I wish you would tell me why. Do you want to build a snow char?
It doesn't have to be a snow char.
Go away, Chris.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for putting that in my head. Evil laughter.
It's devilish, isn't it?
It is. Okay. Yeah. Gamescom is actually, as we speak, wrapping up. I unfortunately wasn't able to go there, but I did check up on what they were releasing in the news, and one of the big things they talked about was Elite Dangerous. At least one of the big reveals came from the Elite Dangerous team, Frontier Development. They're doing... To say that their release schedule is slow would be an understatement. They have been very, very careful in adding new features. They're not dumping everything onto the game and seeing what sticks. They're actually very methodical about it. And now they're kind of making up for that by throwing in the kitchen sink. I'm jarred by a message from Bill that I don't get, but it doesn't matter. He's sending us text messages. Frontier Development is actually ramping up for the new patch, which is Horizons 2.2. We just had 2.1, which is the planetary landing, and we've been landing on rocky planets for 9 months now, I think. The idea was 4 additions to the expansion in a year, and now we're almost through half of the year and now only getting to 2.2, but they're putting in a lot of stuff. Some of the highlights. There is an excellent post on Reddit that we put in the show notes. Some of by the way, the Elite Dangerous community is amazing. So go sub to that Reddit and read everything they're talking about. Look at pretty pictures. The post has the title "What We Know About 2.2." Some things that I picked up: volcanic planets are coming in 2.2. This is a huge addition, at least for me, because that means that a lot more planets are available for landing. Currently, you can only land on rocky worlds, and they promise that the next step would be volcanic planets as well. That means geysers and lava and magma flows and all that kind of cool stuff. So there won't be planets with life. At least not big atmospheres, but there will be the next step towards atmospheric flight and lush vegetation planets and water worlds and stuff that we all want to see. So it's the next step in exploration. They're
basically adding the don't stand in the poop mechanic that's in every other MMO.
Thanks for deconstructing it to the least cool possible description possible.
I'm here to keep it balanced. We could be in the middle, I'm sure. For variety's sake, they're adding a lot of new cosmetic changes. They're adding new space stations, which is always welcome. They're adding a docking bays for capital ships, which is also cool to see. On the gameplay front,
A lot of stuff coming. One of the most cool things possible is multi-cruise ships. I'm not sure if we're going to get them immediately, but they're actually working towards them. The first step towards them is ship-launched fighters. Bill, what are ship-launched fighters? Because you were very, very excited about that.
I'm super pumped about this. So the notion is that if your ship is... I'm assuming the notion is that if your ship is large enough, it's going to have the capability to have a tiny little fleet of fighters that you can launch when you get into a combat situation with other ships. This answers a few things. One, the very large, very expensive ships. In Elite Dangerous, there's a very significant risk when you're in a ship like that to getting just eaten alive by something that's fast and has a good pilot and can just hide in a blind spot for you and pick away at you for 5 minutes until you finally lost your shields and lost your life support and you're this floating derelict that got basically killed by a mosquito. So this is an answer to that problem, but more importantly, this is the one that I don't even necessarily care so much about being in the fight as just watching the fight. When two giant fleet-sized ships, two Anacondas, two Corvettes, something like that, come together and just open up the big guns, but then spew out a bunch of fighters that are kind of fluttering amongst themselves and taking runs at the ship, and all the combat scenarios that are going to come from this are titillating me. Just delicious stuff.
You sound a little excited.
Well, this is the sci-fi fantasy. I mean, you can go full Battlestar Galactica on this.
Yes.
I mean, you can actually have a small fleet, and that fleet has fighters, and every fighter can be flown by people. So it adds so much to the social aspect as well. Because I'm pretty sure if you're piloting an Anaconda and you have a full complement of fighters that are actually manned, you are an unstoppable force.
It could be amazing too, because you wind up having this combined fight where you have somebody fighting almost a naval battle in the main ship, and then you get almost like an arcade flight combat happening for all the fighters that get launched. So it's this combined gaming experience that one can't survive without the other, and if the two work together well, it's this great strategy experience.
And it is actually, I mean, I've flown the Anaconda in VR, and it is a huge ship, and it handles like a huge boat. It's very slow in the turn. It feels heavy. You have a tremendous view of the length of the ship from your cockpit. It's an amazing experience, and to add this fighter mechanic, I'm so psyched. Apart from that, there's a lot of other stuff happening. One thing that I'm actually interested in is the passenger missions. I'm not sure that will be the most exciting thing to do, but it is a cool addition to the universe that you can fit your ship with passenger cabins, and if you have a big ship, you can actually have luxury cabins as well. And you pick up passengers in one station, you fly them to the next. Players can actually suggest tourist attractions for like special systems to visit. So I think this is a very cool hook into the exploration mechanic, actually. Because explorers, now I'm an explorer, I go to systems, I scan stars and planets, and I move on. But if I have the additional incentive of looking for cool places for tourists to visit, and I can make a little money that way as well, that adds a lot to the experience. I mean, now if I see a cool binary system with some planets doing weird stuff, it's fun for me, but if I can share it in that way, that's pretty amazing. So
well, it also adds a really interesting mechanic, I think, to the whole power play system as well. Like if you've got passenger missions where you can be moving sensitive people from one system to another that could be intercepted by people, and it becomes like hostage type situations, and influence gets traded based on whether a VIP gets delivered correctly or if that VIP is intercepted. That's just anything to kind of boost the whole power play mechanics, I think, could be a good thing. That was what I thought of when I first saw that feature coming through.
Well, power play is one of those. I think that's the one thing that they should basically overhaul completely, because on paper it's kind of a way of giving people an EVE Online type domination game, but it doesn't work that way. It's too abstract. There are too many layers between you and what's happening in the game. It's but that's I hope something that they'll tackle in the next update. But so a lot of cool stuff coming to Elite Dangerous, and this package will be yours for free if you already have Horizons, and will launch in mid-October. Possibly there will be a beta a couple of weeks before October, and if you already opted into betas by paying for it earlier, you will be able. You're eligible for the beta as well, and if not, you can pay Frontier for the privilege of playing the game early. So, October, Elite Dangerous 2.2.
Makes me want to get back into that. Oh, darn it! There goes my life.
Isn't it cool that we have cool space sims like No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous, and a wannabe like Star Citizen that's complete crap? I mean, we have choice. I just couldn't resist.
At least you're consistent. At least you're consistent.
Hey, I'm waiting for the day that Star Citizen is as cool as this, and I'll gladly, completely eat my words, and I will be so happy if that game is good.
Sure you will.
And if it's not, you'll still be happy because you've got a whole bunch of vitriol you can deliver on podcasts.
And then I was right, and that's also cool. I mean, there is no way to lose.
Being right is just delicious.
That's almost as good as crowdfunding a game that's crap. Never mind. Let's go to the next story. Bill, I think you have something to share.
Yeah, it's this little indie game that kind of popped up on our radar. I just wanted to mention a new patch that was coming up for it. World of Warcraft. You heard of it, right?
That's the one by Blizzard, right?
Rings a bell.
Yeah, that company
it's with
that
the
sounds...
Hobbits.
The Hobbits, that's got to be it. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so World of Warcraft.
The one with all the gnomes in all the trailers.
World of Warcraft ahead of the Legion launch. So before Legion has even launched, before anyone has begun the questing and the storyline and everything like that launches, Blizzard has announced at Gamescom the first patch that's going to come out after Legion launches. So they've already got one in the chamber for Legion. So patch 7.1 is coming out, and they've already mentioned that it's coming out as a dungeon ad. They're going to add Karazhan actually back in as a dungeon. For those of you that are old-time World of Warcraft players, Karazhan is one of the earliest raid experiences you actually had in the game. It was actually the first raid that came in with Burning Crusade way back. But they're converting that into a 5-man dungeon, very big 5-man dungeon though. It's a 9-boss dungeon, so it'll still go in the queue as a regular 5-man dungeon, but prepare to spend a long time there. You're not blowing through that in 20 minutes.
Okay, you know what I find funny? This is the Karazhan is the next content for WoW, and it's almost like they're taking a Wizards of the Coast approach and having all of their properties have similar themes, because the Hearthstone the latest adventure is Karazhan based as well. One Night in the Return to Karazhan or something it's called.
Well, and if you want to go really crazy with it, the new map that they've announced for Overwatch is called Eichenwald. You know what it is? It's a great big tall castle.
I find that really cool, though, to see synergy between... Oh, God, that was corporate speak. To see some comparisons and some connections between the different products.
It's a paradigm-shifting, new synergy-enhancing... Yeah, please.
Oh,
well
I'm
done.
sorry.
If they could somehow squeeze Karazhan into StarCraft, I bet you they would.
Hey, did you hear about the StarCraft HD remaster they're talking about?
The StarCraft universe?
No, StarCraft HD remaster.
No, I have not heard about that at all.
They're talking about the StarCraft HD remaster.
So do you think that they might be remastering StarCraft in HD?
in HD, StarCraft might be remastered, which is something being talked about.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving right on.
So I think that's going to come out, I bet you, fairly shortly after the...
I would expect it's probably an October release. I think if they're already talking about it now and if they've already been presenting it at Gamescom, I suspect that we're probably going to see that in the fall still. Yeah. In addition to the Karazhan dungeon, they're actually adding another raid that's supposed to tie together the Stormheim story, which is being introduced in Legion. This is actually the Vrykul. I don't know if you remember the Vrykul from which expansion were they? Those are the Norse giant things from Northrend, and the expansion was called the
Wrath of the Lich King.
The Wrath of the Lich King. It's like
You're
I was
welcome.
going to call it Arthas's Parade, but I knew that wasn't right. So
Well, you know
anyway.
what? It's surprisingly right, but
It sounds like a Disney spin-off.
yeah.
I'd pay money
Artist
for
is
that.
fun
Wanna build some
afternoon.
undead. Anyway, so the Vrykul were actually a very kind of a sadly unexplored lore piece from Wrath of the Lich King. They actually had a very neat background, and it just kind of you just killed them all when you went into the Vrykul story, and you never heard from them again. So
Because they were all dead, Bill. Because we killed them all.
yes, but funny how being dead didn't stop them in the first place either.
That's
so
true.
this is World of Warcraft, remember?
Yeah. Very
Anyway,
true.
and it's also an interesting mashup of apparently the story is going to kind of lead through a confrontation between Gen Greymane, who's the Worgen faction leader, against Sylvanas, who is sorry, spoilers, people, but it's all over the internet now. Is actually going to be the new war chief of the Horde.
You see that
So.
in the Demon Hunter story.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
So, spoiler. You know what? If you bought the expansion, you already know. This is not a secret.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
Not
if you
sorry.
didn't, you're not going to play it anyway.
Exactly.
Right,
And if
exactly.
you didn't know, I am actually sorry. I hate being a spoiler, but it is.
Hey.
So anyway, patch 1 announced before the expansion even comes out. Has that happened before?
Yeah,
I feel like
Wildstar
it
did
must,
that.
but did Wildstar already have the patch in the chamber
had the
before
drops,
they released
yeah.
the game?
Yeah. Now things changed, but yeah. I think their patch came out a month after launch of the game. Anyways, all right, there's some WoW stuff, some WoW news. We do have some more stuff coming up, so let's move on to our sponsors. Audible, go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter to sign up for the internet's best audiobook provider. They've got a monthly program where you, a monthly subscription where you get one audiobook per month for the subscription, and we will get the first month for you. So go check it out. Help support the podcast at audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter. And of course, our good friends over at Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com, use the coupon code MMO Reporter, and whatever wonderful boutique PC you get, because they only make wonderful PCs, you are going to get a 120 gig SSD added to your purchase. So go and check them out.
Now that I've tried to talk to you and make you understand, you can't out-threat the tank and just pew-pew and think you'll last the fight.
All right, and there is a major content update coming to the world of Wildstar. The new patch, Red Moon Rising, has launched, including the new raid, Red Moon Terror, which includes my favorite and yours, pirate zombies. Who doesn't love a good pirate zombie? So
That means they're basically minutes from dying. I mean, the moment pirates, the moment you see
right.
the moment you see a ninja, it's game over.
So this is a whole bunch of new stuff. The Pirate Zombies, the Red Moon Terror. They've got some new lore articles, some raid design posts as well, and some new armor sets for all of you who complete that raid. This is coming off the last patch was the Arctera patch, sort of the cold area that's there. And if anyone is interested in Wildstar at all and maybe has put it down for a little bit, all level 50 characters who complete the intro quest to Red Moon Terror, which is the raid, which is just a quest to sort of get the area set up, you're going to get a free mount. So you have to do that before the end of August. So basically before WoW Legion launches. So I've heard pretty good things about this update, looking at the community, and it's always interesting looking into what the community thinks about Wildstar because it is an incredibly pessimistic community. Probably on its online presence, forums, Reddit, that sort of stuff, is incredibly pessimistic, mostly because, Carbine's made a whole bunch of mistakes as they went through. There's been tons of bugs through the content, features have been dropped, stuff like that. But this one seems to be hitting the community pretty well, and I haven't heard about a ton of bugs. And it just came out yesterday, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I already saw a post on Reddit that a guild has already cleared one of the wings. So there you go. If you're into Wildstar, go check it out. The other one
complaints about lack of canned content in 4, 3, 2.
The other one that I wanted to mention that's also released a new content update is Echo of Soul. Now, Harry and I actually know this one pretty well because we went to one of their parties and demos at PAX East several years ago.
I'm racking my brain. What the hell is Echo
It was
of Soul?
the one very Asian-styled where, remember, the head of the company didn't know anything about gaming. Remember that party?
Yeah.
And they had the very little food and the computer set up, and I played, you didn't, and it was by the water. How's that?
Oh, that one. Yeah, that
See?
was a good game.
That
No,
wasn't
it wasn't.
Yeah. But I do want to mention, before we get talking about it too much, I do want to mention we had Laynor, if you remember Laynor from the podcast. He did a series of first report videos on it. So I'm just going to refresh everybody's mind, I'm going to play the audio here from his final thoughts on the game.
And it's a very cool game. The art style is very awesome. The game is free to play. And I don't feel like this is a major hardcore RPG. This feels a lot more like a casual RPG, MMO, where you just log in and you play for a little while and you actually see your character level a couple times while you're playing. And you're always constantly going forward. And it feels really good and natural to just keep going through a game instead of just grinding out in one area. And that's what this game has. You just keep progressing, and it's very cool. I like it a lot.
So he enjoyed it quite a bit. I had a different experience. I didn't enjoy it. I played it at the same time as him as well. I found the game itself to be incredibly repetitive, to the point of, even though you're going through different areas, you're not grinding out monsters in a certain area. The game just felt like a grind. So that was my opinion. So you've got a couple of different opinions there. I'll actually have a link to the full first report series that Laynor did there. But they've got a new content update called Wrath of the Goddess. So if you were playing for a while, maybe you stepped away, this might be a good time for you to come back and check it out again. They got 3 new dungeons, a new PvP season, a new Doomspire Keep, which is kind of a progressive thing where you go up the different levels, 50 different levels. You can fight up, it gets harder as you go. A new festival, and then we'll have a link to the teaser trailer as well. So again, like Wildstar, I went out and tried to find some idea of what the community thought about it or what the community was like, but the forums were super slow, about a post a day. The subreddit, the only subreddit I could find, seemed dead. So if you're an Echo of Soul player, let us know what the game, how it's doing. Is it a lively game? Is it an active game? They wouldn't be putting out content if it wasn't, but I'd love to hear from some active players. Guys, I mean, this is a lot of content for a game that's maybe on the peripheral of stuff. Is this what you like to see from games that maybe aren't the AAA or maybe aren't at the forefront of the MMORPG world now?
Well, Yeah, I mean, if you are on the peripheral, then you got to do something to knock it out of the park. So I mean, you do have to go heavy to get people's attention. If you just introduce a little feature here and a little feature there, and kind of keep a steady stream of content rolling, you're not gonna move the needle. You're not gonna attract attention, I don't think. So if yeah, big content boost. Now, are we certain that it's actually not doing well, or is it just not doing well in North America and Europe?
The research I could do English language. So this is only the English language stuff. So I looked at the forums, I looked at subreddits, and I looked for fan sites. I didn't find any active fan sites. Current right now, English at least, and I couldn't find much activity on the forums, and the subreddit seemed dead. So if I'm wrong about all this, I will come on the show and make sure to correct that. So if you know anything about it, please let me know, because I'd love to be able to point people back to the game if it's active, and it should be something that former players should go back and check out. All right, that's good talk, guys. Good talk. Quick mentions here. Blade and Soul announces Desolate Tomb. It's not out yet, but it's going to be coming. A new dungeon with the most challenging content to date. And one thing that's interesting, it's got different group size. You see, usually dungeons are either 2, 3s, and 5, or 5s or 6, but I've never seen dungeons be 4-mans or 4-player dungeons before. So this is going to have 4 and 6 member versions. They're adding
Star Wars has 4-player.
Is it 4-player?
Yeah,
think
4
so,
or
yeah.
8.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. Okay, so thank you for
Because
correcting
that's
my...
you can have actually each character has his companion character.
Yeah, so you
But
can
those
have 8.
companions can be, so it's like 4 or 8.
Right, cool. Improvements to PvP, and here's an interesting one. One of the PvP matches, the 6v6, is going to limit pre-made sizes to 2. So you can only go in there as a pre-made in duos to help with the matchmaking. So people aren't going to get steamrolled. I can see this being a good thing for people who don't have pre-mades, and a bad thing for people who like rolling over others with pre-mades.
So the name Desolate Tomb was actually talking about their matchmaking system.
Probably. And they're adding an in-game DPS meter because the game does not allow mods or add-ons. So they're adding it to the UI in-game. Blade and Soul, I played it quite a bit when it launched. I did enjoy it. As far as games that come from Asia and have a particular game style, I found it quite fun. The world was lively, the combat was energetic, and the movement. You had a little glide thing that you could do. It was quite fun. I liked starting from somewhere high and then pretending I was in a wingsuit and like hitting that curve of the earth just right so I wouldn't hit the ground, but I'd get within like millimeters. That was the most fun thing. I did the same thing in Riders of Icarus. It's just fun. Anyways, if you feel like crying, like I had to stifle back tears this afternoon, go check out The Last Bastion, which is we'll have a link in the show notes. It's a Overwatch short. Holy crap, that was powerful.
I haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers.
No spoilers.
It's
go
very
watch
good.
it. Go
It's
watch
almost
it.
7.5 minutes long, so it's a pretty long short.
It is. It's a medium short as opposed to a medium long or a medium. No, but
And it is no words, completely no spoken word in it at all, and one of the most powerful pieces of video game cinematic that I have ever watched.
it's good. It's worth doing. It's a Blizzard cinematic. So I mean, even if you're not interested in playing Overwatch, I think this is the 4th one of these that Blizzard has made for Overwatch now, or the 5th one.
They had the one
I can't remember.
that was the duo of Widowmaker and
Tracer. Yeah, and then they had the cinematic where Widowmaker and Reaper attack Tracer and Winston, and then they had the Genji Hanzo one, And then they
Yeah.
had the Soldier one, and now they've got the Bastion one. So yeah, there's at least 5 full cinematic videos. And then they've got the whole comic series that they've done. That's I like it, but I can see other people not. But all the cinematics are worth watching. And so far, I mean, they're totaling up to almost a 40-minute watch for all of them tacked together. So
I would totally.
it's almost
watch
turning
an
into a
Overwatch
movie.
I would watch an Overwatch movie if they made like
they-
pre right now Overwatch, like the before whatever happened that split up Overwatch.
They basically have. Like, I think by the time they get through all the other characters that they want to tell stories for, they're going to have made a feature-length film, which is what Blizzard has been asked to do for how many years now?
Right.
This is one of the things. They almost do this better than they make games.
They're too busy hiding gnomes in their cinematics.
Yeah. I didn't see any gnomes in this one, by the way.
Shut up. All right, last quick mention here. If you're interested in Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, which is an MMO coming, still in development, no release date or anything like that. The Brad Arundune had a AMA over on Reddit. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, the question I found that I think was the most interesting for me, and there's a whole bunch there, but I just wanted to grab one, was basically, again, around endgame. And the answer was like so many games are doing now. Oh, it's not all about endgame. It's not blah, blah, blah. So they're trying to avoid the term. There's no rush to high levels. You'll be geared too poorly if you rush to high level. The majority of the content is designed around grouping, and there's going to be soloing. There will be raids, but nothing is instanced. That's interesting. So a raid when it's not instanced, doesn't that's there's so much possibility for griefing then, isn't there? Or 2 raids going at the same time? Like
Sounds exactly like Guild Wars 2.
It sounds exactly like EverQuest 1.
Isn't the Guild Wars 2 raid instanced?
Well, yeah, but
Yes.
they've got the world,
Right.
the actual world raids. There's lots of world raids there too that
Right.
somehow don't get griefed.
But EverQuest 1 had no instances at all. That was just not a technology that existed. We didn't have the technology. So
Yeah, and
raids
he's
and
from
dungeons were...
he worked on EverQuest, and what was the other one that he worked on as well?
Vanguard.
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 Oh, right.
Yeah. So
That's gone, isn't it, Vanguard?
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in it, go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
No, I mean, I read through the AMA and everything. There was nothing that really jumped out as completely capturing my attention, but I was really struck at what a poor salesman Brad McQuaid is. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't sell the game well. Like, I get the sense that he's telling what he feels is completely the truth, and he feels like he's trying to be completely honest with everybody and just tell them, this is what we're making. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. This is just what it is. But he doesn't do it very nicely, and he doesn't do it in a way that makes me want to go out and buy Pantheon. I have to say, I feel like they could have put somebody else in this AMA, and I'd probably be more interested in buying Pantheon.
But the tagline, Bill, the tagline is, the MMO you've been waiting for is finally coming.
Oh, well, in that case, I think if I'd stopped reading at that point, then I'd probably be more interested in Pantheon.
All right, so that is our show for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Bill, if people want to get a hold of us, they want to let us know what they think of Echo of Soul, what the community's like right now, their favorite parts of Red Moon Rising, whether or not they'll be in WoW, or how they have lost their entire life to Elite Dangerous, how can they get a hold of us?
Well, there's a fancy-dancy website over at MMOReporter.com to visit for all of your MMO Reporter needs, as well as all of our brother and sister podcasts and other good stuff, all to be found at MMOReporter.com. You can email us at MMO.reporter@gmail.com. You can visit us at Facebook, Facebook.com/MMO Reporter. And I've been told that is the geriatric way to interact with people on the internet these days. Apparently, Facebook is old.
We are old.
We are very old. I am a very, very old man, and I Facebook, apparently. You could tweet at any of us, which is apparently not quite as geriatric, either at Reporter for Chris, at Harry Hall for Harry Hall, or at MMO Bill for yours truly. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778. You can visit us at YouTube, youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. You can visit us at Patreon, patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Or if you're not into a Patreon style of support for MMO Reporter, you can visit us over at MMOreporter.com/support for a bit more of like a one shot. If it's like buying us a shot instead of a 6-pack.
Correct. All right, Bill, what are you planning to game in the next week?
Oh, the next week. Oh, this is a new question, Chris. I don't even know how to handle this. I am going to probably play the Fly to Calgary and Run Network Cables game for the weekend. It's a virtual reality game that's actually based in reality, so that'll be good.
Nice.
Full scale.
Is that like
after
Pipe
that,
Dream?
if I get a little bit of time, I want to keep going on WoW and try to get my dude to 60, and then right after that up to 100. I've been stiffing around Rift lately. I've patched Rift up, and I kind of almost started playing, and then didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm still, I've hovered over the buy button for No Man's Sky several times now. And I'm still, after the discussion from this show, I think I'm going to my gut is saying wait for the Steam sale.
You know what? And wait for the patches. We didn't talk about it because we're not sort of doing our review of it yet, but there's some PC issues. Just do a quick Google search and you'll hear all about it. So yeah, we'll talk about that more when we get to that. It sounds like fun. And we started a thing, Bill and I, and it's not quite a regular thing yet, but semi-regularly, a couple of hours before the show starts, we'll get on and we'll stream something for a little bit. We did Overwatch tonight. Maybe we'll do Rift next week. Harry, what are you planning to do in gaming in the next week?
Probably Elite Dangerous and a bit of No Man's Sky. And I'm
fun.
tempted to relaunch an actual MMO again, something like Guild Wars 2.
You should come and Rift with us. All right, thanks. And as for me,
it's not about you. It's about Rift is cool. The virtual reality headset. The MMO.
You're breaking my heart, Harry. Okay, as for me, I'll probably do exactly what I did this week, which is the quad of No Man's Sky, WoW, Lotro, Overwatch, or replace Overwatch with Guild Wars 2. But that will probably be me. Just check out our Twitter or follow us on Twitch, and you'll be able to see when some of us are streaming. Hey, Bill, thanks for a fantastic show. It's a lot of fun.
Likewise, thank you.
Harry, thank you for getting your ass out of bed and joining us this week, unlike the last few weeks.
You're quite welcome, and we didn't go long in the show. Yay!
Yeah.
It's a regular show length.
Wow.
And thanks to all of you for coming out and hanging out with us. We had a few people in the chat room. Thanks for downloading the podcast and listening to it, going over to YouTube or the website and listening to it or watching it. However you may consume the podcast, we sure appreciate it. We hope that you come back again next week, but more importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOReporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOReporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.